So I see business schools and universities at large as playing important roles in fostering a sustainable transition towards a sustainable society. One of the roles, of course, is that they are training the future professionals, and that they have the possibility, or we have the possibilities to install this kind of thinking to, inspire the future professionals to think about sustainability and what they're doing. And this, I think, is going to be tremendously important in the future, because there are, of course, many drivers for companies that are important, but I think very important are also the thoughts and the ideas that the employees in these companies have. And if they are trained during their education in bringing in these aspects, in thinking about these aspects, and I think most of them, all of them, really care about the future, about their children and the future they'll live in. So I don't think it's motivation so much as it's often knowledge that's missing. So we will bring that. So I think that's an important role that we're playing. I think another one is, of course, the research, the innovation, the ideas. So collaborate with industries, with authorities from the reality out there. We get their ideas, their problems, their issues in, and we can then, from our research background, play back on that. So we'll be inspired in our research by real-world problems, and on the other hand, we will also be able to think a little bit beyond the actual day-to-day business situation or concrete political situation, and perhaps lift the visionary level a little, because that is needed. If we want to move in the direction of sustainability, it's not enough with these small add-on solutions. We need more fundamental, drastic changes, and that'll rarely come from a concrete business day. I see a number of different ways of collaborate with business and with authorities outside the universities, but an excellent vehicle, of course, is collaboration around students. Typically around projects that students work on. It can be master thesis projects, it can be capstone projects like we have in COSI that we're offering there, where the students get a chance. It's excellent from a training perspective. They get a chance to work on real life cases, but external partners, be it industries or authorities, also have the possibility of interacting through the students with us as their supervisors, and testing some things which are really free for them. It's not associated with any cost, typically some time that they need to invest in it, but they can really get some valuable insights there. I think often that's our experience at the Technical University of Denmark from collaboration around life cycle assessment with companies. They often get some answers that they can really act on, and at least they get more knowledge, more insight in their technology, in the life cycle of that technology. And I think that goes broadly for sustainability-related questions, that it's an easy way of digging into something, getting some insights from outside for free. Basically like interacting with a consultant, but here they have the whole university, the scientific environment there, and the skills. So I think that's one good way. And of course another one is also that the students get more aware of the reality out there and the conditions that are there, which prepares them much better for coming out and actually working for sustainability in their professional career. Of course, there are other ways for collaboration as well, more consultancy-like collaboration on externally funded projects funded by companies or with companies and universities as partners. So we're working on that as well. Of course, all three universities are, but I see really the student collaboration around students as a very big opportunity. The importance of cross-university collaborations or activities, training activities to sustainability lies in the multidisciplinary nature of sustainability. If you think about the Sustainable Development Goals that UN adopted last year, there are 17 different goals. And if you look across these 17 different goals, they're about everything. They're about everything we are doing, our whole society, our way of living. And that means that it's not like there are 2 or 3 goals that are for engineering and 1 that's for business and 3 that are about climate change and science. All of them involve need for interdisciplinary collaborations if you want to solve them. And actually I think the 3 that we have in COSI, so you can say the science, the engineering, the business, are not even everything. I mean, we had just a presentation from the architectural school. If we're talking about building, the aesthetics, I think if we want to come up with innovative solutions and lasting solutions, sustainable solutions, if you like, it's quite clear that they cannot come from any of the three individually. It's not useful that you have a very smart thing, technological thing that can do something if you cannot sell it. You know, if there's not a market, if you don't know how to create it into a product that will be sold, it's not going to fly in our society. So I think it's quite clear that this is needed, and that's also why it's important that we train the students to become better, to become aware of the competences that the other professions have and how to collaborate with them. So they'll not be experts in the others. The business students here will not become engineers or micro-engineers, but they'll have an understanding of how engineers think and what they can use that, how they should talk to an engineer in order to communicate. Well, why students should care about sustainability, I think it's not so different from why everybody should care about sustainability. It's, well, they are younger than I am, so they'll live hopefully longer, and they'll have a larger chance or risk of experiencing a non-sustainable world. So sustainable, I mean, it's in the world. Is it something we can sustain? If it's not something that we can sustain, the activities we have now, we can face collapse. So I really don't see it in any choice. I mean, we have to go for sustainability, and I think more and more businesses are realizing that now, that sustainability is not going to go away. And the smart businesses are those that now really make it part of their business model. They have the lead. I think we are clearly not doing enough in the universities or between the universities when we're talking about sustainability. We are just at the beginning of it. I think this needs to be integrated in all curricula at the universities at the relevant level. I mean, every professional that comes out from a university will be working with something where sustainability aspects are relevant. I mean, everybody should scrutinize these 17 World Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and see what is relevant for what I am doing here. And we are not doing that at the moment. So we need, at my university, Technical University of Denmark, we really need to work on getting sustainability competences into all study lines. Because engineers create the solutions that can help us create a sustainable world. They have created the solutions that have put us in the situation we are now. So it's very important to create that awareness, and I think certainly for business that is also the case, that you know, most of the business we see today is not environmentally sustainable, at least, and often also not socially. Maybe it's economically sustainable, but we're lacking the other dimensions. So we need that, and I think, as I said before, as interdisciplinary collaboration is key here. We are not doing enough at the inter-university level. We need to do much more with that. I think that one of the reasons why we don't have more inter-university collaboration, it's actually not so much well, the students are pressed. Of course, what we are offering now are electives that are competing with other electives. So we need to market it better to the students, but I think there are also challenges in making the inter-university collaboration work, which are of a more technical, administrative nature that makes it really difficult to do joint teaching. And that's of course not just in the sustainability area, that goes for all areas with inter-university collaboration. But I think there's something to work with there, where the universities, you know, ought to sit together and see how can we harmonize that. But it goes down to practical details, like the way that we are organizing our semesters. At DTU 2 semesters per year, here at CBS 3 or 4, can you say, 4 courses or 4 course rounds per year. You know, that makes it tricky. So there are many practical challenges, but I think that this is so important that you know, we need to overcome them. I am a born optimist, so that is why I am positive about the future in terms of sustainability. I think I see a lot of very promising trends, but I also see some huge challenges, not least in the growth in the population numbers globally, the growth in standard of living and thereby material consumption, which is very good from a social sustainability point of view if we're talking about development or developing regions or newly industrialized countries. We see a huge growth in the middle class in China, which from a social point of view is what we need. But it has some huge environmental implications. And what we're talking about here are really dramatic changes that we will need in the coming years. So It's not that the challenge is not there, but I think also we have historical examples of what can be accomplished if we really set our minds to it, and if we really get it on the top of the agenda, the political and the business agenda and the science agenda. We can do a lot of things, but a lot of it is also in changing the minds of people and changing the behavior. And that's a little bit outside my field as an engineer, but that is tremendously important if we want to see a real sustainable or the necessary sustainable transition take place. Yeah, I think if we take the national level, I think Denmark has a unique opportunity by being such a small country internationally and reasonably homogeneous society with some values that align quite well in many respects with the Sustainable Development Goals. And that means that if we stick to what we have done so far, and I think at the moment we are perhaps deviating a bit from that course, which I think is unfortunate, but if we stick to that course, we cannot change the world, but we can set examples, we can test things, we can be kind of a testing lab or a sandbox, if you like, where different visions, different models can be tested and rolled out perhaps later. I think we've seen examples actually. If we think of Copenhagen as a city, we see the use of biking. Then Copenhagen has now become worldwide known for biking, and this is inspiring metropoles in other parts of the world to do that. I think that is an example. It can be done, you know. It's not just some academics with some wild ideas. This is done in practice, and it's not a developing country. I mean, this is a highly sophisticated, developed society. If they can do it, so can New York. It's a matter of choosing, and I think that is a role that Denmark has the possibility to do. I think also our academic culture, our what can you say, not very hierarchical culture. The ability to collaborate across, that it does not matter so much whether you are an assistant or a full professor or even a student. If you have good ideas, we'll listen and we'll work on them. I think that can also, give us an edge compared to many others in developing sustainable solutions. But of course we have big challenges in Denmark. I mean, our footprint, environmental footprint per capita is among the highest in the world, so there's a lot to do also in Denmark, not just setting an example. I think that we should really take the UN Sustainable Development Goals as a huge opportunity. I think we really need to put this forward. I think the young people, of course, they are motivated because they will be here for a long time. They should be motivated because it's their world, a future world that's collapsing also if we do not succeed in creating a sustainable society. So they should be motivated, but I think there's a huge task also in the primary schools, in the gymnasium, the preparation for the university, in putting this on the agenda and making them think about it. And of course use the media that they use for discussing this. I often become surprised, how little aware they are of it. And of course this is an ongoing story. You need to tell it every year because there are always new people coming. So I think that is important also for preparing them for being motivated once they start at a university education, if that's the way they go, to search for this, to listen and to look for the competences that they need to build and the thoughts they need to have into the solutions that they create.